When I have children who have difficulty with WH questions, I find often it's because they don't understand the WH word. So initially I do some WH question sorting. We sort the people in the who box, the places in the where box, the objects in the what box, and the times in the when box. Question-answer relationships are something that many teachers use to help children answer comprehension questions. And there are 4 types. There's the right there, the think and search, and the author and you, and on your own. And all I've done here is make that visual. So the right there question means that the answer is in one place in the book, and I take that highlight tape and I put that in the book. So what color is the boy's shirt? And then I take the highlight tape and I put it over the boy's shirt is blue. And so they see there's a connection between the question they're supposed to answer and the book on the page. They usually get that pretty quickly. Then there's the think and search question, where the answer is in more than one place and it needs to be put together. So some are on page 2 and some is on page 3. So I'll take highlight tape and put what's on page 2 and highlight tape and put what's on page 3. And if they're really good at math and stuff like that, I'll even put 2 different color highlights taped. So yellow plus blue equals the answer. And then the author and you is part comes from the book and part comes from the child's mind. And that's very difficult. Children with autism often have trouble generating answers that don't come from somewhere else. And then the last is on your own. And that means the answer comes straight from the child's mind. And so I'll start usually on the last one before I'll do the combination of the author and you. Because I want that child to be able to generate their own ideas. Think Alouds are a strong evidence-based practice for other children with disabilities and children without disabilities. Use Think Alouds to show inference and prediction. You're simply narrating what you're doing. Oh, I see. Because Bill bought a new shirt and he looked at it in the mirror, he thought he looked really good in it. So I'm giving them ideas of what I'm thinking, and sometimes I'll even draw as I'm doing the think aloud. And there's lots of ways to show that. You can show the motivations for behaviors, as I did with Bill. You can show people's emotions. You can talk about things that are contrary to the expectation or an alternative outcome. Well, gee, I wonder what would have happened if so-and-so had done whatever. You could make subjective evaluative remarks. Oh, I really like it when she does that. Or you can use it for story retelling. So in a Think Aloud, we talk through the thinking process as we brainstorm, and it allows us to hear what's going on in the teacher's, or the student to hear what's going on in the teacher's mind or in a friend's mind, and then it allows teachers to see the strategies in a student's mind. So sometimes I'll encourage them to walk me through it. It really increases metacognitive awareness, and it's tied quite nicely to higher reading comprehension scores. 3 connections. I really like this. After we finish a book, I have them tell me how the reading connects to their own personal experience. Have you ever read? Have you ever seen a bear? Things like that. And then I'll try text to text. You know, have you ever read another book about bears? Have we read another? Is there another book we can think of that has bears in it? And then text to the world. You know, what do we know about where bears live and things like that? Are there bears that live around us? So I'm tying the text to themselves personally, text to other texts, and then text to the world in general. Connections, connections, and more connections. And then there's a keyword strategy. You let each child have a ring. I use shower curtain rings a lot to keep words or cards of interest. And these keywords are hung on hooks or nails in one location in the classroom. and I just punch a card and put it in together. So then if a child needs to spell or write a word or know the meaning of a word, they go to their peers to get information there. And the class really pretty quickly remembers which children know which words. Vocabulary information books. I love PowerPoint books, if you haven't guessed by now. I make simple PowerPoint books unpacking the information of the story or highlighting vocabulary words, kind of summarizing it for them. I use a lot of visual dictionaries to help, and I make sure to make connections to previous knowledge in the book. So here's an example of a social information story. I am reading Sarah Planing Tall. It's a story about a family who lives on a prairie. Caleb is a little boy in the story. His mother died when he was born. Caleb misses his mother. I can tell this because he keeps asking his sister Anna to tell him about his mother. When I think about Caleb missing his mother, I can think about missing my brother who is at college. I am sad when my brother leaves for college. This helps me to know how Caleb feels in the story. So here there's been lots of connections made for them emotionally and personally with what's happening in the story. This kind of was a mistake that worked. We started trying to predict what was happening, and I was having a hard time getting attention. So we started walking around with our flashlights, seeing pictures from the story in the hall, and then we'd come back in the classroom, we collected all of our pictures, and we'd put them all up on the board and guess what the story would be about, and they absolutely loved it. You can also do this by just reading the captions under pictures too. It really helps them predict what the story is going to be about, and really helps their central coherence development. Peer mentoring, as I mentioned before, has the most research support and is the least used. So students are taught to model, to scaffold, to question, to praise, to help their